she needs to make chicken parm
right now.
She always used like Classico jarred sauce. And the only difference is that I make my sauce from scratch because I love making a sauce.
So
like I think making a sauce is probably one of my favorite things. Same. But like there was again like hard shit happening in my family like last fall, and I called my brother and I was like, come over, we're making chicken parm about it. You know, and he was like, what do you mean we're making chicken parm about it?
Yeah,
and
just shut up and eat the chicken
he comes to my house and he sees the chicken breast in the frying pan and he was like,
oh, we're making chicken
that's what we're
parm
doing.
About it. Got it.
If somebody has surgery, if somebody is like, you know, in need of like a meal train situation, my go-to is chicken parm. That being said, I feel like all of my friends have summer babies.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's, like, what I think of now when I, you know, we're in our 30s. When people have a meal train, it's because somebody birthed a human.
Yeah, seriously.
And my other go-to is, like a build your own taco kit.
Yeah.
And I'll do, Kenji Lopez has this really delicious, like, Peruvian chicken recipe with, like, a green sauce that, like, for me tastes like that's what I make when I'm homesick for South America.
Yeah.
And so I will do that with like tostones and like a big like green salad and good tortillas and like lots of different like pickled onions and jalapenos and things like that.
That's so funny that you brought him up in his recipe because ironically enough, and I wrote about this was my first published essay after I had my miscarriage. That was actually, it was an asada recipe. And I've made like steak tacos forever, right? But I was like, fuck it, today, I don't know. Sometimes even for a girl that doesn't necessarily follow recipes, like I want to, like, what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? And so that was actually the recipe that I had on my phone. I had to like leave in the middle of cooking dinner for my family to go to like a very standard prenatal appointment, and I was making these tacos with his recipe, and I was like, okay, I'll be right. So I have like all of the shit like still on the counter, all of my niece is still on the counter, everything's like in little bowls, I got stuff marinating, and I got home like 2 hours later, and I, you know, like I'm pregnant, but I don't have like a living thing in me anymore. And I just remember, like, I will never forget, like, looking at that recipe and being like, have fun ordering pizza. I'm going to bed. Bye. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then they did, and they ordered pizza, and they still.
Have you revisited that?
I haven't. And I was thinking about that. You know, like, I'm not a stuffer, as you know. I mean, I did for a long time, but in terms of, like, stuffing feelings...
I really honestly thought that you meant, like, stuffing, like you're not, like, a person who does, like, stuffed chicken breast or something like that.
I'm not a stuffer. I
was like, I know that you made stuffed shells, like, 2 weeks ago.
I don't really like a roulade. Also, what the fuck does that have to do with literally anything right now? No, I don't like stuff I don't stuff my feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for some reason, no. And I, you know, like, I have baked the fuck out of that piece of my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have cooked and baked my way through that miscarriage up, down, and sideways. And also, I'm hella good on that recipe. Like, I'm just like, it feels like dark cloud vibes. Like,
no, that's fair.
It kind of feels like bad luck vibes right now. So I'm like,
yeah.
I
get that.
I don't think that I have, like, made... I don't think I've made, like, steak taco since.
Yeah.
And I didn't. To this day, actually, I have no fucking clue what happened to that fucking steak. To, like, any of the shit that was on the counter. I wonder if people in my house were just like into the garbage. Never mind. Yeah. Maybe I need to, like, make steak tacos about it. You have a grill. That would be... We should grill about it.
Let's grill about it.
All right.
I still maintain that I'm afraid of fire.
I know you do. That's why me and Anaya come over and grill.
I just always feel, I I always feel bad when everybody else is working on the things in my house.
Okay, well that's weird because I'm gonna start telling you that when you're watching the children.
Okay, all right, fine.
That doesn't make any sense.
But yeah, my fear of fire has like definitely diminished over the years, and I think part of that is like
being in the kitchen
with cooking.
Yeah, because you have to open the fucking oven, Hannah.
I know,
and you have to take stuff out of it.
Yeah, I could not open an oven on my own until I was like 16 because I was so afraid of fire and heat. And then I couldn't light my own candles until sophomore year of high school. Honestly, I couldn't even like light my own joint when I was like 25.
Do you want to do the irony in all of this? Everybody is that these two pals that love each other so much and have created this big queer family vibe. One is like horrified of fire, and the other one is like an accidental pyroman. I managed to accidentally burn a large portion of my house down when I was 15.
Yeah,
and
I also come from like OG wildfire country. Yeah. So
I mean, for I am saying I'm kind of dragging myself for somebody that has burned down a large portion of their home. You would think that I would have like a little bit more discernment with fire. And I'll never forget when Anaya and I first started dating, and I had left a candle burning. You guys, shut up. Don't tell people that. I left a candle burning for a little bit. It's fine. It's contained in glass.
That's not true.
And the look of shock and horror on his face. He was like, sorry, what?
Excuse me?
I was what
are you doing?
And I was like, what? And he's like, you need to blow that out. And I was like, oh my God, why are you hollering at me?
Yeah.
That made me think, though, even still, with that night, the night that I accidentally burned half my house down, that was like, you know, strangers that I had no idea who they were, like, fed us pizza. You know, it was like, I don't know what the fuck to do with you. You just lost all of your belongings. Mm-hmm. Eat about it, okay?
Right, yeah. And that's exactly what, like...
we're talking about.
Yeah.
Here we are. It's a full circle moment.
The 2017 wildfires in my hometown, my parents were like, we don't know what to do. Come sit in our kitchen.
And just eat about it.
And eat food, right? Like, my best friend here was, her childhood home was one of the first to burn. And it was like, okay, there's literally nothing I can do. Like, you can't get on a plane right now. We can't go home right now. Come to my house. I'm gonna feed you. Like, once a week for like a month after that, I would ride my bike down to Union Station, but where she worked nearby, and we would sit at those little picnic tables outside Union Station, and we would have lunch together.
Yep.
And I would like pack a lunch for both of us, because what else do you do?
I mean,
and I'm sure that like people who are listening to this are like, well, here's a laundry list of other things you can do, and that's great if like whatever works for you to like move through tragedy.
We talked about this last week, right? Like, you have a fucking tool belt of shit that you can access, and also
and mine is all kitchen supplies.
Big same.
Yeah.
There's other tools in there, but also like that's my go-to, and I like it that way.
Yeah. Same.
Sometimes I like to walk about it. Sometimes I like to lift heavy shit about it. But most of the time...
yeah, mostly I want to go to the ocean about it. But again...
that's also not an option.
Can't do that.
I can take you to, like, the Union Station splash pad.
It's a no for me.
Is it the same?
No. No. Just no.
No, that's just a no. It's not the same.
But yeah, that's food. Food is... it's cool. I like food.
I like food, too. What a vibe food is. And if you're not, I don't know, I think the pandemic, right? Like, I mean, there's been so many fucking stories and, like, whatever, of people finally accessing, you know, pleasure through food, or, like, experiencing what it feels like to move through grief and hardship through food and with food. I think that this is a thing that is happening more than it was before.
I think so too.
And I love that for you. I love that for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's exciting to see more and more people coming to food as like a space to process and as like a vehicle for processing. Like, I'm excited that so many people want to learn how to cook for that reason.
Yeah. I think it should be too. Like it's a I don't know. I feel like it's more than even a twofer, right? Like you're accessing creativity. You're able to like, you kind of have to sit in your shit, right? Like you have to kind of stay in it, but you also have the ability to also check out in ways, right? Especially if you're like doing like a project bake or like a project meal that requires like a lot of steps and maybe ingredients that you're not super familiar with. You get to do a both and, right? Like you got to stay in your shit, but you also get to like, I don't know, distract and sit in a different way.
And I think it's also like giving yourself permission to kind of hold the duality of like, wow, things can be really, really hard and tragic and shitty. And also like you can make something delicious and beautiful at the same time. And I think right now, culturally, it's really easy to get bogged down in how
fucking Shamble Mountain everything is.
Yeah. And being able to say, okay, everything's a disaster, and also I made this beautiful meal for my family, or like I learned how to bake bread, or
literally yesterday was hard and sweaty, and it's just like a very big realization that like best of intentions, and also my kids are fucking young, and so like it's just hard, you know, but at the end of the day, like I can put everybody at the dinner table and like have music on, and we can just like be together and like chuckle at like, wow, that was fucking hard, but like here we are.
Right.
And we made it and we did it.
I think food, like cooking is a really good practice in like a dialectic and being like, okay, yes, and.
It's a big time salve vibes. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Like, it's not going to fix everything, and we know that we can't fix everything right now, but within this container of like a meal that I'm making for people who I love, I can tap into like feelings of satisfaction and comfort, and like, if I'm lucky, also joy.
And you can also like smooth some edges.
Yeah. And then, you know what? If it sucks.
I was going to say, what if it's garbage? We should do an episode on fucking garbage.
Kitchen nightmares.
Kitchen nightmares.
If it sucks, if it's a nightmare, then ideally, okay, this is not what I do, but this is what I aspire to do.
This is what I would love to do, is laugh about it instead of being fetal in the bathtub.
No, I'm absolutely a fetal in the bathtub
So
person.
am I, big same.
When I like mess up a meal, I like, oh my god, this is the end of the world. I put so much like...
Oh, I throw shit.
I cry
my fucking eyes out.
I throw a hissy fit, but what I would like to do
is like ha ha ha, what a good learning curve.
My higher self is like, haha, that sucks, let's go get pizza.
And no, I'm not, but we haven't gotten there yet. I hope to experience that someday.
It sounds like that's what we can talk about with our therapist this week.
Oh man, add it to the laundry list. All right, well, on that note, stay tuned for big kitchen nightmare vibes.
Yeah, if you have food that you love to cook as like an act of service for others, or if you have kitchen nightmares you want to share,
please,
or if you want to just like tell us that we're funny, or you want to tell us that we're really annoying, but then give us a kiss on the forehead and say it's okay.
You can do that.
You can do that. How can people contact us?
Well, here's the deal. We need to, we're processing out loud right now.
Yep.
We need to make an email about it.
Great.
But in the meantime, you can slide on into our DMs.
Yeah.
You can find Hannah at
The Pleasure Centered Therapist.
The Pleasure Centered Therapist.
All
on
one
Instagram.
word. On the Instagram.
On the gram. And then I'm at Ava Truckee. Slide on in there.
Yeah. Tell us about food that feels like a hug. Or
Tell us the time that you fucked some up real bad.
Yeah.
Let me laugh about it, since I'm not laughing at myself about that yet.
All right.
I'm going to go have a cup of coffee about it and probably eat more of the food that you made this week. So
great.
Right.
Liam's in the kitchen making donuts.
So
let's
stoked.
Let's see what he's processing.
Okay, bye.
Love you, bye.